kind of funny. Not funny, but he sleeps in. He's a big sleeper. He likes to sleep in till noon, even if he's not working nights. It's just a
Oh,
day off, and
jeez.
it's till noon if he can help it. And I was so worried about him that morning because I knew that he wouldn't be up. So we're
Yeah.
leaving at like, I don't know, we got out there pretty early, like 8:30 or 8:40. We're like headed out of town. And I'm like calling him just over and over and over again, and he's not picking up. So I'm about to pull off and go into his apartment, and finally he picks up and he's like, "Hey, what's up? Why do you keep calling me?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm gonna break your window if you don't come out of your house. Like, there's a fire, and I can see smoke behind your apartments already coming over." And he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I had to get up early for a doctor's appointment." He's like, "I stayed up overnight, didn't go to sleep at all, so I could make it to a Chico appointment." So he didn't even sleep
Sheesh.
that night. I was like,
Oh, man.
A better life, better vision, what you wanting? Let's make it happen. Time to choose the better story. Come on. Choose the better story. Hey, choose the better story. Yeah.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Choose a Better Story podcast. My name is Ryan and I'm the host. And this is a podcast about vision, mindset, performance, and purpose. And today I am super stoked to have with us as a guest on the show, Mr. Kyle Smith. Kyle, thanks for joining us today for the show.
Ryan, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so we connected. Originally we connected because we both shared a common passion, and that is serving the youth of our community in Paradise.
Yes.
And that's how we kind of got to know each other. And I'm curious, like we just talked a little bit about it, but you're not living in Paradise anymore. And what would be like the major reason why that's not the case?
Yeah, I mean, the main reason would definitely be the campfire that everybody went through. That is from Paradise and affected other cities as well nearby,
Yeah.
and we just kind of didn't have a lot of people, a lot of opportunity. In Chico, everything was kind of booked and taken and reserved, and we were looking for a different path, to start over somewhere fresh.
Sure. Then
Yeah.
where did you land?
We landed in a beautiful state that no one talks about too often. You have to find it on a map for some people, but we're in Idaho. So we got the blue turf, we got Boise State, we've got the potatoes, we got all the terrible weather, and pretty much my entire neighborhood. It's a new neighborhood. It's all people from California. So everybody from California has moved to this neighborhood. There's no locals in my neighborhood. It's very strange to find somebody that's like actually from here that bought
Yeah.
a house in this area. So it's interesting, and lots of NorCal people. So it's a very similar vibe to what we left as far as
Hmm.
people and culture because of that.
Yeah, I'm in a neighborhood in Chico, which is obviously, just a little bit down the hill from Paradise. And
Yeah.
I like to call our neighborhood like Paradise Reborn because like a lot of the people that stayed local are in our neighborhood. But yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard a lot of people actually made their way out to Idaho, after the campfire. So you're not the only one from Paradise that's there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of us, a big group.
Kyle, tell us a little bit about like what would you say are two monumental life events that have contributed to who you are today?
Yeah, man, it's a big question. There's a bunch of different ways, we could go into it. I would say for me, starting a relationship, with Jesus Christ and putting my faith in God is the most
Hmm.
monumental circumstance in my life that has guided me from that point to where I'm at today. And so
Yeah.
that was 16 years old, growing up in Paradise. You growing up in Paradise, growing up
Yep.
in the youth groups, and man, so good that we had you as a youth pastor. At the time I had a youth pastor named Eric Young. I don't know if you
Hmm.
remember him.
Oh yeah, of
But this
course.
is in 2001, I think, or 2002, when I decided to put my faith in Christ and felt him calling me. And I
Hmm.
had a good mentor in Eric, and he was somebody that I feel like there's some youth pastors that just like to get on a stage and they like to speak, and that's their gifting, and they're very good at that. They can get a crowd excited,
Yeah.
and there's some that are a dual threat where he was good at speaking, but he was very good at sitting down with you and talking to you and figuring out what you want in life and what your strengths are,
Yeah.
and making you feel important, and so I came from a family where I didn't always, sadly didn't always have somebody that could mentor me and reach out to me and notice
Mm.
my strengths. And so to have a youth pastor, an adult, say, "Hey, Kyle, you know what? You're actually you're okay. Like you're probably gonna make it. Like you're gonna be all right." Meant a lot to me. And so I ended up going to a summer camp when I was like 15 or 16 years old, and heard just the clear, what I feel is the clear biblical gospel of what Christ did for my life and died in
Mm.
my place for my sins. And grew up in church, but for me, it felt like a profound moment where it was like I was hearing it for the first time,
Yeah.
and decided to make a change and accept what Christ did for me in my life. And so from that point on, I'd say that was the number one most monumental moment of my life as far as
Okay.
affecting relationships, job choices, career paths, friendships, so many different levels
Yeah.
that has
Mindset,
affected
purpose, of
mindset,
course.
all
Yep.
those things,
Hmm.
how I treat people, how I let people treat me. And then the second one would definitely be, and this is all very cliche stuff, but it's my wife. So meeting
Yeah.
my wife at 18 years old, dating for a long season, having a time of separation as young people, still figuring things out, and then
Yeah.
getting married when we were 27 years old. And so meeting Christ, put my faith in him, meeting my wife, choosing her, choosing to love her, getting married, and then we're coming up on 11 years. So
There we go.
yeah, so very big. It matters, who you align your life to. That's everything.
Yeah, and so I mean, we were talking just a little bit ago about you were still in paradise when the
Hmm.
campfire happened. It's funny because I mean, it's not funny. It's a reality. Like, man, I legit have fire brain. Like, there's some things I just like that time. It's like a time warp right there. So
Yeah,
I couldn't
yeah,
recall before this interview. It's like, man, was Kyle still in town? I was trying to remember, but yeah. So you obviously you were impacted by that in a dramatic way. Now you're like
yeah,
totally displaced. What was
right,
that like for you and your family to go from, being in paradise, you know,
yeah.
having a place, having safety, having a community, having a church family, having all that stuff, and then just like that, things change. Like, how did you navigate that season?
Yeah, for sure. And I would say that's a very close third for most monumental thing and
Yeah.
impact on my life that changed the trajectory. I always tell people, you know, um, the Paradise Fire is like what would happen if your entire town burned down and then you woke up in that reality tomorrow. That's basically what happened. Like your
Yeah.
whole life trajectory, it's like an
Yep.
apocalypse happened, but just in your own city, and then you had to start over again. What would that look like? New job, new everything else.
Hmm.
So for me, I mean, it was very very intense. I was a youth pastor for 5 years. I felt like I had made a commitment for 5 years, and it happened at the 4.5 year mark. And I
Mm.
feel like I'm a person of commitment. If I say I'm going to do something, I try really hard to finish it and really hard to complete it. And
Yeah.
so we were a First Assembly of God Paradise. We lost the church building, and we still had a
Hmm.
people. We didn't lose people. We just lost the building that we met in, and we
Yeah.
ended up linking up with a church down in Chico that didn't have a pastor. Their pastor had just resigned about a week before, so they
Mm.
were a church body without a leader and had a building, and we were one with a leader but without a building. And so we were able to
Yeah.
kind of, come together and merge two churches. And I think a lot of that time was, it just felt like chaos and damage control
Yep.
and just running and asking people what they needed and trying to be like the best resource for people around you when you didn't really have much yourself to speak of, and your living situation wasn't always secure. And I'm staying at my dad's one day, and I'm staying at like my wife's parents the next day, just we're trying to figure it out with a 2 year old. And so, yeah, the best way to put it was like the first 3 months after was just pure chaos. Our
Yeah.
church connected with something called Convoy of Hope, and it's just a on the ground kind of missionary group. So they just show up with
Sure.
water bottles and food, and I've never seen so many boxes of goldfish in my entire life, and we just had pallets just filled. That's what people need to keep them healthy during
Yeah.
a catastrophe. But yeah, we just hit the ground running and just helped as many folks as we possibly could, and we did that super hard, and didn't even really talk about our future. Didn't really talk about what are we going to do next after this. We just didn't really have time to really plan. It was just like
Yeah.
God help us get a house to stay in, help us get something to rent, help us. Like it was literally give us our daily bread was the
Yep.
actual prayer. Every single day. Oh, okay, that makes sense when you're actually living that way, to
Yeah.
pray that way, so
Yeah,
yeah.
it was a beautiful time in terms
Hmm.
of there's just obviously so much need in the community, and it was a beautiful time to just help people. But you're right, you use the word chaos, and that resonates with me a ton because like my brain was all on go 24/7
Yeah.
about how can I help people, but at the same
Hmm.
time like no, I've actually got to take care of my own family. I've got to, and my own world is turned upside down. It's like, yeah, it's like chaos everywhere.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not
Yep.
like just Kyle lost his home. It's like Kyle and everyone he knows lost their home. It's
Yeah.
like so you can't just go stay at a buddy's house. Your buddy lost his place too. All my family lived in Paradise. I can't just go stay at my family's house. They all lost their homes too.
Yes.
Just absolutely wild. You obviously you made your way to Idaho. Tell me a little bit about that transition. So,
Yeah.
you were a youth pastor serving a community that had just been destroyed. Now you find yourself living in a different place. Now what
Yeah.
were you doing to provide income for your family?
Yeah, for sure. And maybe to backtrack a little bit, we didn't want to leave, Paradise. We never planned on leaving Chico. We really wanted to
Yeah.
stay in the area. We were being asked to interview at the church that we were serving at because they needed a senior pastor. And
Yeah.
my senior pastor at the time was going to go back to Paradise and rebuild the church up there, and it was going to resplit. And so
Sure.
that was on the table, just praying about staying there and leading there and really
Hmm.
trying to figure it out with my family. We even went out to Memphis of a buddy that's a part of something called the Life Church out there, and they have like 5 campuses in the Memphis area. And so they flew us out. We even interviewed with them to be a campus pastor. And the way their
Yeah.
church is set up, you have one pastor that speaks, and it basically goes broadcast to all the campuses, and then the
Right.
campus pastor leads and pastors the people of that campus wherever it's
Hmm.
at. They have their own worship team and stuff. So we did that as well, and I think in that process we just realized we were just a little bit too shaken, a little bit too like broken to lead. Was the
Yeah.
issue. It's like, wait, we got a lot of damage that was done to us emotionally, and we never slowed down to go, how did this actually affect us? So
Right. To
um,
grieve. To
yeah, to
grieve.
grieve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And gosh, it's like we needed counseling, we needed like therapy, we needed to talk to people. Like I didn't realize that anytime I talked about stuff I get choked up, and I'm like, and still this day it still feels that way sometimes,
Yeah.
because it's still emotional and it still affects people today. But we ended up coming to Idaho. My wife's family was already planning on moving here before the fire, and this just kind of accelerated things for them because people need homes from Paradise, so they just put their
Hmm.
house up for sale and got them to people who needed them, right
Yeah.
away because they were already planning on going. So they moved up here first, and then after we realized we weren't fit for any type of ministry anymore for that season, we needed to get better and hit the restart button on our lives and just let God work on us for a while. We decided Idaho would be an okay spot. So we came
Yeah.
out. We had some mutual friends that were actually from the CMA that lived out here, and they got us hooked up with a realtor, and found a really inexpensive house. This is 2019, so picture this: 2,000 square feet, brand new for 250,000. So that's
I'm trying to picture that. It's not computing here.
yeah, it's not computing, brand new, and a nice subdivision. And we just went, okay, we can build from that. We
Yeah.
can build from there. And it was not like Idaho wasn't the dream move. Florida on the ocean would be a dream move, but
Yeah.
it was the practical move.
Sure.
And just really glad that we did it. So we kind of when we landed, I took a month off, bought furniture, tried to replace items because we had nothing. So at first we bought lawn chairs at Walmart and put those in our living room because you had to order the furniture and you got to wait. I'd never bought new furniture before. I didn't know you couldn't just buy furniture and bring it home with you. You got to wait like 6 weeks. They got to make it. I think I don't know what they have to do. You got to order it from the factory. But so we kind of lived a very simple life, for about 4 or 5 weeks, and I just slowly, rolled out, finding a job. And honestly, I felt like for a season, sales was my background, management was my background, um, ministry was my background. I wanted to do something totally different. I wanted to kind of just be outside and work hard and sweat and like work with my hands.
Yeah.
And full disclosure, because of insurance and stuff helping us out with the fire, I didn't really have to worry about a lot of my bills that I had in the past. So it was kind of a clean
Sure.
slate. So I took like the first job that would take me that was something hands-on. So I became a like a pest control technician, where you literally just drive a truck to houses, you spray for bugs, you're catching mice for them, you're,
Yeah.
putting granules in the grass, and you're meeting customers. But it's a lot of driving, thinking, podcasting. It honestly was a healing time for me, just being chased by wasps, just feeling intensity out there. I didn't get paid well, and it was just like, but it was like this rewarding feeling of like helping people with their problems. And I'd come home after a really long, like hard day at 5 or 6 and smelling, and I felt good about it. Like I felt good that I was doing something in the real world
Yeah.
and helping people with their physical needs and
Right.
problems,
Sure.
and I think it helped grow me up a little bit in some ways as well, to not just be afraid of stuff that I used to be afraid of in the past. So
Yeah.
it was good.
Nice. And so how, and then what did you transition from something other than pests? What did you do
Yeah. So when I
after
first
that?
moved up here, I decided to try out for the sheriff department. So I went to their first. It's like an open tryout. They want to see if you can run or jump. Nobody really can. I think you have to do like 10 push-ups in order to pass. It's a very low bar. It's a very low bar. The criminals are winning. I was looking around me. I'm like, the criminals are in much better shape. They're doing better. We can't do a pull-up. So I was gonna say there's people that I'm not trying to be mean. There were people that just didn't. They got sent home that day. They couldn't do more than 8 sit-ups. Yet eight
Yeah.
sit-ups was the bar, and then people got sent home. So that's the pool. And just to tell you how in shape I was at the time, I didn't get selected. I passed, but I didn't make it. You had to be
Oh, wow.
somewhere in the top 10
Hmm.
and to get into the background check program and all that. So I was somewhere in the middle of the 50 people. I landed somewhere in the middle of the pack. I think I was last for the 2 mile run. It was me and somebody. I think they had like a broken foot and they had one of those scooter things, and they still did the run. And it was me and them. We were in the back.
You were battling it out, huh?
Yeah, I think hers was electric, so she didn't tell anyone. I was gonna
She was cheating.
coast. She was totally cheating.
That's performance enhancing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask for a coast. But yeah, I just kind of put that behind me. My dad was in law enforcement for 30 years, and it was a
Mhm.
noble position. I thought the pay was pretty structured, and I knew what I'm going to make every month.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was it was a kind of a dream I had, a childhood dream to at least try that. And 6 months later, while I'm working this pest control job in the middle of the summer, I think I just got stung by a bee. I got a call from the sheriff's department saying, "Hey, we reviewed your application. Everybody else failed, so it is your turn if you'd like to come in and get questioned." So I was like the bottom of the barrel, deputy.
They're
Let's
like,
get
we're
this.
desperate.
Yeah, we're desperate, man. Do you have a pulse? Have you committed any crimes lately? Do you have a meth problem? You don't. We'll take you. So that kind of started the Canyon County is where I worked for. Deputy journey.
Yeah.
If you want any questions about that, I worked there for 2 years, and it was a really, really interesting interesting job for sure.
To me, that was a really short window. Again, this is just operating off of like Firebrain, but
Yeah.
all of a sudden I started seeing you online and you were talking about dieting and fitness. And so something happened. I'm assuming something happened in that window of time where you got really serious about the health, your own health journey.
Yeah.
And then I started hearing this thing about tasty shreds. So tell me about tasty shreds. What is that, and how did that all start?
Yeah. So I had always been, pretty heavy, especially in my mid 20s, being a lover of food, and then also, realizing we have to go up against a food industry that's backed by science, that knows how to get the right flavor, natural, fake, artificial flavor to hit your tongue and make a brain response to where you eat more of it and not
Yeah.
feel full. And so, not realizing I was going up against that, gained all this weight, got really unhealthy, and then
Hmm.
I actually I was the president of my police academy class. So I'd already worked the job for about a year, and then they send you to the academy. And I was the president. And at the end of it, you have to give a speech, and it was during COVID. and it was a Zoom call. And so I'm doing my speech, and my family was watching, and my brother, how brothers are, they're supportive, but in a weird way. And so he was taking screenshots of any time I had looked down at my speech to like look up and say something, to catch the nicest like double chin angles that he could possibly get, because I looked so bad. And then he was sending it in the group chat the entire time, like, wow, I'm so proud of you, brother, man, so proud of you. But he was doing it. I knew what he was doing. and I felt like really embarrassed and just kind of angry about it. But there's something in that made me go, I've been saying it for a long time. Like, it's time to change. I need to get healthy. Like, this is ridiculous that I'm not. So I literally just Googled, how to lose weight if you're a fat guy and you like food. Like, it was something very, very simple. And I started finding just bodybuilders who were pretty shredded, and they were eating cheeseburgers still, and they were eating, burritos, and they talked about macro based dieting. That if you stay in a caloric deficit and you hit a protein goal, you'll be not only like satiated from the protein, but even in a calorie deficit, you'll still somewhat feel full while you're losing weight. And you can still eat these other things if you just kind of adjust some of the ingredients to make it leaner and higher in protein. And I thought, okay, like, that's interesting. Did some research. I saw Harvard did a study where they had somebody eat like lean chicken and broccoli, 2,000 calories a day. And then another control group ate Twinkies, 2,000 calories a day, just junk food with 2,000 calories. And both of them lost weight at the same exact rate. And I realized, okay, like, there's something I don't want to eat, obviously, Twinkies, because it's garbage. But can I be somewhere, in between, where I'm still like, I'm eating steak or I'm eating good foods, but I can still make pizza differently and still enjoy that as like a fast food addict? Can they meet me somewhere in the middle? And so I started making like, just double cheeseburgers with like a keto bread or a low carb bread or something. And started, macro tracking, and I saw the weight starting coming off really quickly. And I was at the same time going, oh, do I still enjoy the food? Like, I'm still liking what I'm eating. I'm not feeling like I'm missing out on something. And for me, food is such a comfort thing. I grew up in a little bit of a dysfunctional home where anytime there was a food event, like, that was a big deal. That really helped the endorphins out a lot. Friday night was pizza night, and I couldn't wait. And so as an adult, every night was pizza night, if I wanted to get that same endorphin high, if you will. And so that just began to develop. I lost maybe like 30 pounds or so. I was about 280, and I got down to maybe 250. I was already at the time posting on TikTok, just random videos, trying to be funny, but I wasn't funny. Like, it's very bad. I wish if you want to go there, go to the bottom of my TikTok. You'll see the most wildest, dumbest videos that got like 7 views. And I just kept trying, and at a certain point I shifted and just showed like, hey, here's me. I lost 30 pounds in like the last 3 months or so by eating like this. Some very simple videos that I filmed with an iPhone with a cracked screen. So it had like a weird haze. It just didn't look good at all. And they'd get like maybe like 50,000 views or 60,000 views. And at the time, for me, that was an outrageous amount of views. I thought, this is crazy. And a lot of engagement and comments and people asking, how are you doing this? And so I just decided, hey, this is probably something this is a niche this is the road I should go down. I'm loving making this food. I love that I'm losing weight. I love that people are engaging with it and they have questions and I'm helping them. And I think the first time I saw someone say, hey, I've been following your stuff for like 3 weeks, I lost like 4 pounds or something, I thought, that's insane. Like, I'm actually in real life helping somebody that's just following my silly page with 20,000 people on TikTok. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I think at that point, I don't know. Here's the truth. I don't even know where I came up with the name like Tasty Shreds. I didn't use like a meme generator. We didn't have AI yet. I think I just, at one point, I'm like, I want my food to be tasty and I want to get shredded. Like, okay, Tasty Shred. Like, I just put it together, changed my name. I had to buy the name off of some guy in Russia that had like a cat page, because it's like Tasty Shred. It's like a shreds, like a cat food. So for like $50, he sold the name to me.
Okay.
And then we started developing from there. And then I think, a big moment for me was somebody said, you should put some of your recipes in like an ebook that we can just download. Like, someone said that to me, like, in a comment. I'm like, oh, okay. Maybe I'll do that. And so I just went to Canva and I looked on my MyFitnessPal and saw some ingredients from some of the stuff that I've already made and saved. And I just put it together very simply, like, some of them had pictures, some didn't. Just boop, here, let's just put it out there and see what happens. And I think at that time, maybe I had 50,000 followers on TikTok, and I was sitting on an overnight shift because at Canyon County, you got to work in the jail, in the detention area before you can ever
Yeah.
go on the road. So I was doing that aspect. And I was sitting there, my phone was going ding, 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 just going off. I'm like, what is this? And I looked down and I saw that people were buying this little ebook thing I had put out. And
Wow.
I remember that night I made more, or sorry, I made more that night in a day than I usually make in a week as a deputy at the time. And
Yeah.
I thought, that's insane. I don't even have that big of a following. Like, how's this even happening? And
Hmm.
and that was kind of a big kind of realization moment for me that there's other ways to make money. There's other ways to do this.
That was going to kind of lead into my next questions. Like, at what point did you realize that your story was actually resonating and connecting with people? I mean, yeah, you saw people were starting to order your ebook, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's obviously connecting. But was there a point you're like, oh my goodness, this could actually be something way bigger than I ever imagined?
Yeah, there's a couple things. So the first realization I had that I needed to do something, and something needed to change in my life as far as career wise. I was sitting at an overnight shift in the jail. It was 3 a.m, and I was talking with my sergeant at the time, and he was probably, very nice guy, but he was probably early 60s.
Yeah.
Really big fella, not very healthy.
Yeah.
I think he's been through 2 or 3 marriages.
Yeah.
Struggling in every aspect of his life. And
Sure.
I remember him saying, "Oh, I can't wait to retire in 10 years, so I can finally enjoy my life." I remember him saying that. And I
Mm.
go, "Oh," I was like, "Man, you've been here a long time. Like, how much are you going to make like in retirement? Like, what do they give you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'll probably end up with like 3,000 a month or something." And there was this fire that woke up inside of me that said, this guy, unfortunately, this guy has lived his whole life till hopefully
Yeah.
when he's 65. If he lives to that point, I hope God rest he does. Then he's going to enjoy his last 10 years of living.
Yeah.
Like, that's when he's going to enjoy it, and at a meager place too, granted.
Sure.
And I just said, I have to do something. Like, I can't, this is not my future. My dad retired at 55. He still has a lot of physical problems from being in law enforcement, and very noble, honorable position. Anybody who does it for a whole career, I just knew for me and for my house, like, this is not for me anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah.
This isn't my future. And I began embarking on a journey of like, okay, how do I become an entrepreneur? How do I do something differently? And when I had that realization, Tasty Shred, losing the weight, none of that had even happened. That was just a light bulb moment to start looking, keeping my eyes open. And then fast forward to maybe 50,000 followers on TikTok, the ebook's starting to do its thing. It was on an app called Koji, that's defunct. It was bought out by Linktree now. But at the time, it was a lot of former kind of like Facebook executives that had started it. There were some guys from Google, and they reached out to me in an email and said, "Hey, we're the founders of Koji. You're our number one salesperson on this app. We've only been around for like 3 or 4 months, but you're killing it." And then they're like, "We have celebrities on this app, and you're beating them. Like, what are you
Wow.
doing? Like we're doing Cameo stuff through the app, and you're still making more than, like, what's going on? Let's do a call." Sign up. Getting on a phone call with all these executives, and they were surprised to see that I had no idea what I was doing. Like, I had no answer for them. I said, I'm posting these videos on TikTok. I'm making cheeseburgers in an air fryer. I don't know. Like, it looks awful. You want to watch the video? It's terrible. But people are resonating, I think, with it because they go, "Oh, that guy's, like me. Like, he's
Yeah.
ordinary, and I can lose weight too because I'm
Yeah.
ordinary." And I think that was a big moment. I remember the CEO of Koji at the time. Kyle, what are your goals? Like, what do you want to do? These guys are all like multimillionaires. Like, what do you want to
Right.
do with your life? And I go, honestly, if I could just replace my sheriff deputy income with this Koji income and the social media income so I can have more freedom in my life, I just kind of swap the incomes out. That would be fantastic. And they all laughed. Like, all of them laughed out loud. And I
Yeah.
was like, gosh, why am I so dumb? I'm like, I'm not
Like
that
lowered
funny.
expectations.
Yeah, they're like, oh, they're like, these normal people and their silly goals, these NPCs, And he goes, Kyle. He goes, you can do 10 times that. You can do
Yeah.
20 times that.
Mm.
He goes, how many hours a week are you putting towards this right now? I go, like 5. He goes, you're going to quit your job this week. He goes, you're going to put 40 hours a week towards it,
Yeah.
and this is going to be your new job. and you're going to look back at this moment and you're going to thank me someday, because this is going to be life changing for you. And so I went and prayed with my wife, and
Wow.
I think I put in my 2 weeks, like a couple of days later,
Yeah.
and didn't look back.
That's incredible. And so
Yeah.
what do you like, so what is Tasty Shreds? Like what, I mean,
Yeah.
are you generating income from ebooks? Are you generating income from posting content? Like what's it coming from?
Yeah. So it's primarily, it's like 85% ebook and 15% generated for campaigns from companies. So
Okay.
I have an agency that they have about 50 to 60 creators connected with them. And, all day their agents are talking with brands and trying to establish deals. So you might get 2 to 3 really good deals a month. And then on top of that, the main thing is just selling the ebook and coming up with new ebooks. So I try to make like 2 new ebooks a year is sort of the goal, and
Yeah.
then and keep my customer base that I already have. But yeah, it's turned out to be a thing that is a lot more profitable than I had imagined. Going into it, just replacing my income to a place where at the time, quitting my job with 50,000 followers in TikTok, knowing what I know now about social media, I would have never quit at 50,000. Like if something was different and I knew what I knew now, I'd go, that's so naive. Like you're a nobody. That's nothing. Like you're crazy. I'm glad that I had that naivety at the time, because I think that's what gets people to do risky things.
Yeah.
And when you do risky things, you have the chance to see something amazing happen on the other side of that. And I'm not a risk taker. I really am not. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that I was so ignorant that I quit my job thinking I had something when I had nothing. And and luckily I just put the pedal to the metal, and I said, you know what, at the time it was quantity over quality. I'm going to pump out as many cooking videos as I possibly can, as many
Hmm.
transformation videos as I possibly can. People are being helped by this. People like the stuff that I'm putting out there. I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I was probably making like 5 cooking videos a week. Like my kitchen was always a mess. My wife hated it. Like I was just going for it. And then a couple years in is when I think Instagram took off and like Facebook started to take off.
Yeah.
And I think it was 2023 maybe that we crossed the million mark on Instagram. And then I think 24 we crossed the million mark on TikTok. And then now we're somewhere in the range of, and I think we're a million on Facebook. So we're, with YouTube combined, I think we're almost to like a little over 4 million followers across all my platforms. So from
Yeah.
2021, I'd say almost 2022 when it really started to pick up to now, we're at the 4 million mark and growing. So it was worth the plunge. It's worth taking a dive.
That's incredible. I think
Yeah.
I've stalked you. Like I've looked at your stuff because I was like, what is it about what you do that's different? Because I mean, I think we can agree there's tons of fitness people out there. There's
Oh
tons of
yeah.
dieting stuff out there. I mean, it's almost overwhelming how much there is. But I
Yeah.
think what you do differently as opposed to like I'm thinking of a few people, I'm not going to say it, but there's people that promote themselves online on social media and they are jacked. I mean, they are ripped.
Yeah.
They are just
Yeah.
absolutely shredded. And your story is more like, hey, this is actually my real journey, and you're not afraid to talk about the tough stuff,
Yeah.
the tough stuff of like, the idea of feeling overweight and the burden of that, and like how that's going to impact your life, how it's going to impact your family. I think you were willing to be relatable to the average
Hmm.
person. And I mean, I don't know because I'm not like a marketing genius, but my guess is that is the component that you were willing to be vulnerable and
Yeah.
talk about those things and about that struggle. And you invited people into your world and they were captivated. And then once you
Mm.
started to see success with your own eating habits and dropping the weight, people were like, "Oh, I want that. I want that book. I want to learn more."
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
presenting yourself as like the guy that has it all figured out, like, "Hey, you need to do
Right.
my 8 steps, and get
Yeah.
shredded
Yeah.
like me." Like, yeah, some people might be attracted to that, but the general masses, they want to hear like the real struggle. They want to hear like the real sacrifice that's being made. And I feel like that's what you have done differently than the competition out there.
Yeah, I think I really I agree with that. It's really important that people can see themselves, I think, in the journey.
Yeah.
And I also believe that as people are getting more knowledge about health and fitness and how a body looks when it's at, its peak health, or you're lifting or you're exercising, without being on a ton of PEDs and Anavar and all the stuff to make someone look like a jacked Wilbraham Lincoln person. They go, I don't think I want to risk my heart to look like that person.
Yeah.
Is there someone else that, like when I started this, I just wanted to look okay in a t-shirt. I think that's what the people resonate with that. I would say that. I go, I'm not trying to get a six pack. I just
Right.
want to look like I can wear a t-shirt and not feel uncomfortable in it. Like that's kind of where I'm at. I want to wear other colors besides black if possible and feel okay, And as time's gone on, I've lifted weights and I've tried to get better and, with my physical health, and improve that. But it is so true. I think for anyone who's wanting to grow social media nowadays, they want to know your real life. Like they want to
Mm-hmm.
really know who you are. A lot of people want to see your family. They want to see your routine. They want to see what you're really all about.
Yeah.
And I think the time of the perfect curated content is sort of coming to a close, where people don't want to see this curated, perfect lighting, everything. Because the reality is AI is here. And if
Mm-hmm.
you look curated and perfect, AI will do better than you, and you are
Yeah.
replaceable. And so if you don't have an identity, if you don't have a story, if you don't have a personality, if you don't have any of those things, and you're trying to go on social media, you're competing with something that's a million times better than you, and you are going to lose.
Right.
So I say this to my buddies now, and I'm actually trying to do it much more for myself, is I still want my food to obviously look good when I make these recipe videos. I know AI will screenshot it and make it 10 times better in 10 seconds soon with a Sora video or whatever. But you have to like throw a little bit of you in there. You have to put some personality in there where AI can't replicate your personality. I mean, they probably can, but they want to know that they're watching you and connected
Right.
with you as a person and your story. And if you're a content creator with great content, but without a personality, without a story, you are rest in peace soon. Is what I would say.
Well said. And if, I feel like you're a lot of the content that I'm seeing from you, it's super captivating because like when you prepare a meal, like it just happens real quick. Like you do a whole meal in like a matter of seconds, and it's
Yeah.
like you just get the highlights of it. But man, when you show the finished product, like I'm hungry because it
Yeah.
looks good. Like when I think of like, having to diet, I think of like, I don't know why I have it in my mind, like eating kale. It's like
Yeah.
miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
stuff that you're making, like, oh my gosh, that looks delicious. I want
Yeah.
some of that.
Let's go. I think that's what it's all about is, hey, if the food industry sells food a certain way off of the shelf that's really highly palatable and looks delicious, and they use all these control groups to figure out if you're going to get excited about the cheddar chicken burrito in the frozen food aisle and how many people will pick it when they walk by, we can do the same thing with health and fitness and go, here's a double cheeseburger. Let's get you really excited. Oh my gosh, it has 96 and 4 beef instead of 85 and 15. Like it's a small change, but it's
Yeah,
a big change. And if you
sure.
eat that way and you stay in a deficit, you can lose weight and still feel full and still feel like I got to have a double cheeseburger. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what my content's all about. I think sometimes people get confused. I'll eat carb balance mission tortillas, and there's processed foods there. There's keto buns. Some of them still have 17 different ingredients in those, and so sometimes people will go, yeah, everything looks good except for like maybe that processed cheese you used or that processed bread you used. And my story and my message is there are lots of pages that are 100% RFK organic. If you want to like go that route, like it's available to you. I believe in that stuff. I try to eat that way as much as I can too. I'm
Yeah.
also for that person who's literally one step out from Jack in the Box and doesn't want to die of a heart attack. Like that's who I'm trying to help. And so that person might not jump from Jack in the Box to broccoli and boiled
Right.
chicken, but he might jump to, I'll just switch the bun out, get better beef and get
Sure.
some more vegetables on there and make a tastier high protein sauce. Like that's who
Yeah.
I'm trying to reach, like that guy, because I am still that guy and I was that guy. So
Yeah.
you got, there has to be a missing link for a lot of people. It's not just cold turkey. I'm the if people are on the cocaine of fast food, I'm the next drug over. I'm just kidding. No, I'm somewhere in between of you being, super
You're the
organic,
gateway
perfect.
drug.
I'm the gateway. The next step after me, if you get through me and you lose your weight, go on ahead and jump to the local, organic store and get
Yeah.
organic beefs and vegetables. That'd be the
Right.
next step past me. but you got to get here first for a lot of people.
Uh, let's talk about your brother Nate.
Yeah.
The one that was taking pictures during, your graduation with the sheriff's thing and making fun
Yeah.
of the double chin and all that. But
Yes.
man, something happened in his life where things exploded for him, like in terms of popularity, just straight to the moon with a
Yeah.
song that he made that was basically about the campfire and the experience
Yeah.
there. Obviously the idea of the song there is about loss and then resiliency
Mm.
after the campfire. But
Hmm.
what was that like from your perspective to see Nate and, Nate Smith and his popularity just like shoot to the moon real quick? What was that like?
Oh man, it was insane to see how rapidly that happened. He was always a good singer growing up, always very talented with music. Helped me with music for the church and the youth group and stuff at the time. He was actually, before he got his apartment, living in, and if you're not from Paradise or Chico, sorry, but we had this house called the Rainbow House next to the high school. He lived in it for a season in the attic for free as a youth intern in his late 20s. He was figuring stuff out, and so I was helping him with that. But I remember telling him, I said, Nate, you should, after the fire, we talked about it. I said, dude, you should write a song, like write a country song, because he's always had a voice for country music and he likes
Yeah.
rock and other things as well. And I remember him telling me, dude, you're not going to believe this. I ended up getting a guitar sent to me uh, from UPS. There's a really nice Taylor guitar. And this guy he used to work with back in the day, he lived in Nashville previous for a few years in the
Yeah.
mid 2000s. He was part of Florida Georgia Line. This guy worked at Starbucks with him, but he was one of the guitar players, ended up being for Florida
Wow.
Georgia Line. They'd stayed connected. And so he heard about what Nate's situation was, and he sent him a guitar because his guitars got burned up in the fire, all his music stuff. And so
Right.
Nate took that Florida Georgia Line guitar and he wrote that song one of these days, and it wrote it, and then a local buddy of mine I grew up with in youth group and stuff wrote a
Yeah.
nice little guitar part to it that had a nice little twang to it. And so they recorded that at my dad's house, and I actually recorded it, their initial song, and then they put it on Facebook and kind of went local viral, which I'd say local viral is like 100,000
Right.
views or something. Then it went to the news and so on and so forth. And he got on like local action news and whatever. It blew up so fast. There was a little, like in that first, I think that happens for a lot of people in that first 6 months, he had like a mini blow up and it looked like things were going to make it. And then there was just kind of like some roadblocks. It just didn't seem like anything was going to really come from it. That song got really big.
Yeah.
Parted ways, with his buddy that they wrote it with, and it just seemed like things were like what's going to happen with this journey?
Yeah.
What's it gonna be like? He ended up getting a call to do to open for Common and Ex Ambassadors in Sacramento for a fire relief concert. Who else was there? Oh, Pitbull, the rapper. Pitbull was there,
Well,
and
okay.
it was like a Gavin Newsom thing. So Gavin was the speaker, and then he had all these rappers come out and do his thing. And so that was like a kind of another like a big leap for him, and another downturn afterwards. Just didn't seem like much was going to happen. And then he took a big risk too. He was kind of stuck in Chico, playing local stuff and not knowing what he's
Yeah.
going to do with his music career. And he put one song called Wildfire on TikTok that did really, really well. I think got like 1 million views in a couple days, and that song was super popular. So he decided, I'm going to move to Nashville like in a week. And he had no money. He had like no funds. I think he might have even started a GoFundMe for himself. Hey, I'm going to move to Nashville. Please help. And I think my dad gave to it. I don't know anybody else that gave him
Yeah.
money. Maybe I chipped in $10. I don't know. But he ended up getting out there and made it. And about a week after landing in Nashville, and this doesn't happen for everybody. Like you have to work a long time. I think Lainey Wilson was doing shows for 10 years before she got a call in Nashville.
Wow.
He gets a call in 2 weeks from a guy named Simon and his partner Chief, and there's something called Core Entertainment, but they manage like Nickelback and a couple other bands, and they just said, "Hey Nate, we're part of a big company. We're connected with a lot of record labels. Don't sign with anybody. Just talk to us. Close all of their channels. We got you." And within a week of that, they got him a publishing deal with Sony. So he was writing music and being paid to write music, and he was down to like his last dollar. Like he was like, I think he had enough money to put down on his apartment. He was down to nothing. And then he's like, "Can I get advance on the pay?" They're like, "Sure." And they advanced him. And he was like, "Okay, we're like afloat." And then it was maybe a few months later that he got a full record deal signed with Sony. So not just the writing, but also the record deal. Like, we're going to make you the artist as well. And then I think it was maybe a year after that he put out Whiskey on You. It's a song that went like gold. I think it went platinum, and it was his first radio number one. So he now I think he has 5 radio number ones in the span of like 5 years. So
Yeah.
he's had a crazy journey, and it was cool the entire time seeing it. And people sometimes will even ask me the question like, "Hey, did you ever feel?" Because he started making his come up when I was still at the sheriff department, and he's like, "Do you ever feel jealous, like seeing your brother do so well, and you're just kind of at the sheriff department, like figuring stuff out?" And I can honestly say, without a doubt, I never felt a single ounce of jealousy for my brother.
Mm.
I was just so excited for him because I'd
Yeah.
seen him his whole life struggling, always
Sure.
struggling, never making it. And so for the first time in his life, I was like, oh my gosh, my brother's going to be, I was like, he's going to be okay. Like
Yeah.
he's going to be taken care of, and he gets to do something that he absolutely loves. So I was, over the moon. Every single step, he'd call me. Any new thing that happened, he'd call me and let me know what's going on with his life. And it still does that to this day. Any new song that comes out, he sends them to me right away. He can't wait to send them. And so I'm just
Yeah.
super proud of him. It's been such a cool ride.
That's really cool. If I heard you correctly, I think I heard you say after the campfire, you suggested that he write a song about that.
Yeah, we talked about it in my dad's house, and I just said, dude, people are hurting. Like, I think you could bring a lot of hope to people if you
Yeah.
wrote a country song. So I need to text him right now, remind him that I'm the whole reason that he's successful.
That's what I was just gonna say. Yeah. And as the younger brother, you probably should get all the credit for it, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, you make sure to
He's,
remind him of that.
yeah. Anything he has is because of me. So
How have you seen the flip side be true? Because obviously, his success grew very quickly, but yours did too, Kyle. Like, how have you seen him supporting you in your adventures as well?
yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's been great. He's done a good job of like, talking me up when he's around people in the music industry. And, I get interesting follow backs from, people I was really surprised to see follow backs from in the music industry because of that. He's got me connected with different collaborations throughout the years, and then those led to other things. So he's been very, very helpful to me. One of them was a gentleman by the name of Gunnar Peterson, and we've become good friends. And he was the sports and fitness coach of the LA Lakers for many years, but then he was a
Wow.
celebrity trainer for like Rocky Balboa and Sylvester Stallone and Mark Wahlberg and The Rock and all these
Mm,
different Jennifer Lopez. Like, he did all of their stuff, the Kardashians, and you would think, hearing those names, that he's a different type of fella, but he's very down to earth, very
yeah.
awesome. And he got us connected. He liked my recipe videos. We worked on an app together for a season, and we did a cooking video together. And
Mm,
he's just a fantastic guy. And he's got me connected with a bunch of different people. I don't know if do you know the guy Mike O'Hearn? He's
no.
if you've ever seen any memes and people are listening to it, the "Baby Don't Hurt Me" meme. He's a big buff rip guy that has like long hair and will ride like horses, and very, very, very funny, very relatable. But he's like in his 50s, but looks like a Greek god. This guy's super famous, does really, really well.
Yeah.
I got to do a cooking video with this guy, and he's big in the fitness food world, and we've since connected. And all that stuff's my brother's just opened doors that way. He got me connected too with the 49ers with their people, and I got to
Yeah.
do a video for the 49ers. I did like a
There we
full
go. Because I know you're a 49er fan.
yeah,
That
I
is
got to
one
do
thing
like
I know.
got to
Yeah.
do like a full day of eating. And now throughout the season, whenever they have games, my brother opened the door for me. I can make a call and go get a suite and watch the game. So just
Wow.
do a little bit of exchange for content, for tickets. So there's just been little things like that he's really helped me out a lot with, and it's been pretty awesome. Oh, I'd say the biggest one, I don't know why I forgot this. He got me connected with Jelly Roll. So
Mm.
Jelly Roll, actually, this is kind of fun. I tease him about this, but he followed me back before he followed Nate like on Instagram. And so I would DM back and forth with Jelly about his fat loss transformation and stuff that he's
Yeah.
going through, and how he's doing, and he liked the food, and because he's been on this journey for a while, and it
Sure.
ended up working out. He came to Boise last year for a concert with Post Malone, and I reached out just kind of like on a whim, like, hey, you're going to be in town. Is there any possibility that we could shoot a quick cooking video? And as
Yeah.
people got back to me and they said, yeah, we'll think about it. We'll let you know tomorrow. Da, da, da. And I knew the concert was the following night. And so at like 2 p.m., I got a phone call. Hey, Jelly's got like a half an hour. Can you get here in 30 minutes
Oh
and
my
just
goodness.
tell us what you want to make? And we'll just have the food here. He has a personal chef and we'll just figure it out. Like that's the call
Yeah.
I got. And so I had to rush down
No
and get
pressure.
no
Yeah.
pressure, get through the stadium, no plan, whatever. But I got to meet him and film a cooking video with him when he was
Hmm.
still like at the probably the middle point of his fat loss, transformation that he's been on. So just
Yeah.
cool stuff like that has opened up because of it. So it's been
Who would
awesome
have thought 10
for
years
both of
ago? Who would
us.
have thought?
Oh
Right?
yeah,
It's
no,
wild.
no, yeah, never would have guessed.
Yeah. I'm curious, like with your own story and maybe some of the things, because I'm sure you do a lot of studying in your field of expertise, but
Yeah.
would you say like how much does like people's mentality play into the role of weight loss or eating habits? How much of it is it mental?
I would honestly say it's a pretty large part. It's somewhere. I mean, it, some papers can put an actual figure on it, but as I've kind of read through, somewhere in the 60 to 70, 80% mark is mentality that
Yeah.
people, they have to make an internal decision to make a change, and they have to want it, and nobody can do it for them. And you can get a good coach, you can get the best plan ever, you can have the best gym equipment, and you can see it. There's, some of the wealthiest people on earth are still, out of shape. So, it's not
Yeah.
about having money and having resources. It does come down to like your mentality. And I think
Hmm.
just knowing that you have a why and having it matter and having it be worth it for you at the end of it, and
Yeah.
just being okay with the fact that real transformation in your body takes time. And so if you want to lose 60 to 70 pounds, get ready for a year-long transformation.
Yeah.
Like no more of this 30 pounds in 30 days, all the stuff that we read in infomercials in the 90s and the 2000s. It's all baloney. It's all trash.
Or New Year's resolutions.
New
Yeah.
Year's resolution stuff, like none of that, dude. The year has changed. You are the same person. Like
Yeah.
you have to have a different plan. You have to have a different structure. You have to surround yourself with different people. You have to read different types of books. There's a lot of mentality shift that goes into it. You have to be prepared every single week. You have to be ready. You can't just, I'm not
Sure.
going to meal prep this week. You have to do it.
Yeah.
And I think the main thing is if you can have the right discipline, the right mentality. I think what do they say? It takes 21 days to make a habit.
Yeah.
If you can do that for 21 days, 28 days, stay in a deficit, hit a protein goal, do your meal prepping stuff, hit some decent amount of steps and body movement per day. If you can do that for like 20, 25 days or so, it gets easier. Each day becomes a little easier until it becomes such a routine to where you might have seen me back in the day. I'd go to Beyond Fitness once a month. I might show up when I was eating fast. I'm like, hey, the gym's still here. Like, this is great. And I never, the hot tub still works. Great. I'm here for the hot tub.
Yeah.
But I never strung together days where, I
Yeah.
do like, I bench one day. I'm like, man, that was awesome. I'll see it next month. And I've gotten to the point now where in 3 years, it would feel weird for me not to show up to the gym. Like it's such a part of my everyday life now
Yeah.
that I love to go exercise. I love to go lift weights. And now it's a career as well. So it's like, there's some pressure there to stick with it, too, which I'm very thankful for.
Yeah.
But it has to become so much more of your routine than like for a lot of people that are out of shape right now. It feels normal to doom scroll for 6 hours a day. It feels normal to watch shows at night until you fall asleep. It has to get to the point where it's like you feel like it's normal to be at the gym. It's normal to
Yeah.
to meal prep. It becomes a real part of your daily routine, your daily life.
What would you say is the most impactful thing that you've learned that has helped you keep the weight off?
I think the most impactful thing I've learned is that I don't have to starve in order to lose weight, and I don't have
Mm.
to eat uh, unseasoned food that's doesn't meet any of my appetizing goals to lose weight. I think those are the
Yeah.
two main things that at any time, if I start to struggle with binge eating again, and I go back to just like stuffing my face with the kids' Cheez-Its or whatever, and
Yeah.
I get off course for a month and I gain 10 pounds, I know that very quickly I can open up my Fitness Pal, restructure my goal, say in 10 days I want to lose, or 10 weeks I want to lose 10 pounds. I can lose a pound a week, and I can feel better in about a week if I just start eating better again. And I can just
Yeah.
make I have for me, just knowing that there's a treasure trove of recipes available to me that I can look back on that I've starred. These are my favorite ones. Remind yourself how good these are, cook them again, do
Yeah.
that, and it's just like clockwork. Nothing's changed. If I eat 2,200 calories and I eat 200 grams of protein, for me personally, for my height and my body weight, I lose about a pound and a half to 2 pounds a week. It's
Yeah.
calories in versus calories out. My metabolism hasn't changed because I got older, maybe a little bit. I just move less is probably the problem. So I need to move
Yeah.
a little bit more. I need to hit those calories. Anytime I can just pivot if I focus and make a goal.
If someone's listening and they are struggling with their weight or they're struggling with their diet, what would you say to them?
Somebody is struggling with their weight right now and they're struggling with their diet, I would say, first off, you're not alone. You're in a
Yeah.
good class with a lot of people who have gone through it and have experienced the same thing. That there was a time in my life where that was a decade of my life. Coming up on a Thursday and a Friday night, we had a great pizza place called Celestino's down the street from me, and I'd order something called the Tom Jones, and it was so large I couldn't fit it through the door. You had to hold it sideways. And my wife and I would have two slices. She would have one because they were so big, and then she would go to bed, and I would sneak back out and I'd eat the rest of it. Right. Every time I did it, I would feel guilty. I'd feel ashamed. I would sleep in extra the next day, and I know what it feels like to feel like you're in a perpetuating cycle that you can't get out of.
Yeah.
And what I would encourage you to do is do a couple things. The first one would be, you can even use ChatGPT for this. It's very simple. Give Chat your weight, give Chat your height, your age, male or female. Very simple stuff, and give them a goal. Say, I want to lose 50 pounds this year, and
Mm.
ask, how many calories should I eat per day? And if you don't want to use ChatGPT, you could even do your goal weight and times it by 11. And that'll give you a very rough estimate of how many calories you should eat a day. Get a free app like MyFitnessPal. Punch in a goal. All right, I got to eat 2,800 calories a day to lose 1 pound a week. And then I want you to do it for one day, just 1 day. Because, saying I'm going to do this for a month or 6 months, it's a really lofty goal, but do it for one day and see how you feel. If you hit a
Yeah.
protein goal, if you stay in that deficit and you make the food for a day and see how you feel. And if you feel full, if you feel good, if you feel satisfied, get to day 2 and then get to day
Mm.
3. And if you can do that, you can string enough days together, you'll see that by the end of it, you're going to make your goal. And so for me, it took 6 months to lose 60 pounds, my first 60 pounds. I had no background in fitness. I didn't know what I was doing. I was a terrible cook. I used the air fryer to make cheeseburgers. That sounds disgusting, but that's all I knew what to do. And I did it while working full time overnight graveyard shifts. And
Yeah.
so the reality is, when you see somebody else's body transformation, don't say that could never happen to me. Say that
Mm.
that could be me in 6 months.
Yeah.
That could be me in 1 year. Because for me, for a decade, I said that would never be me. I thought those people had some kind of special discipline, some special ingredient that I didn't have. And so don't believe the lie that you're somehow different than everybody else that's done it before.
Yeah.
That you're the same as all of us. You sweat, you bleed, you cry, you have anxiety, you have problems just like all of us. But if you string together the right days, get the right plan in place, you can get there. It just takes
Yeah.
time. Be patient.
Yeah, there's a guy in the solar industry that some people call him the goat of solar, but
Mm.
he just believes in the compound effect, and his simple phrase is like keep stacking days, keep stacking days, keep stacking days. And that
Mm.
really is the recipe for success. That's how the compound effects work. How the compound effect works is you just stack healthy days on top of healthy days. You get through one
Yeah.
day and you accomplish your goal, then do it again, then do it again, then do it again. And pretty soon you stack that, for what do you say, for 6 months, then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you've lost a tremendous amount. And
Right.
the flip side is true too. If you want to have bad habits and stack those types of days on top of days, you're going to get a negative result, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
just how life works, not just with food and not just with dieting and in all aspects. If you choose a healthy habit and you do that over and over, you're going to get a positive result.
Yeah.
And an unhealthy habit is going to yield you a negative result. You can
Yes.
keep stacking it on days for sure. What would
Very
you say
true.
is like something that you're the most proud of in terms of your Tasty Shreds business?
Mm. I would say it's a tough thing. There's different aspects to it, but I would say that my children get to see their father wake up every morning
Hmm.
and take them to school and pick them up from school.
Yeah.
And because it has done so well, success it has been so successful. They don't hear me stress about money. They don't hear me stress about what bills are going to be paid. They just get to enjoy my time and the
Yeah.
time that I have with them. I would say being able to go on vacations, whenever we want, we can just get off and take off and go.
Yeah.
It's just having the freedom with my family that I always call it, man, I feel like I unplugged from the matrix and this whole different life has opened up that they never have to see me answer to anybody, but God and my wife.
Hmm.
And that's it. That I make my own schedule. Anytime when they see me stressing about a video or I'm working on something and they want my time, they can say, Dad, you don't have to do that. Like, that's not due tomorrow. Like please stop so we can go do something. And I can
Yeah.
listen to them and go, you're right. I can totally put that on hold and I can go spend time with you. Um, so that would be probably the biggest thing for me. I'm proud of the fact that I was able to buy my freedom and I
Yeah.
have a completely free life, a completely free schedule.
Yeah.
I work as much as I want. I work as little as I want, and still blessed. So that I'd be probably most proud of that.
Yeah, and what that makes me think of is how many people have had the opportunity to make a big risk, to take a big risk in their life, and they
Yeah,
they haven't been willing to do that. And you took a big risk and you've seen a great result from it. You were in ministry before, you obviously made a change. The campfire had something to do with that. I was in ministry
yeah,
before and I had to take a big risk and I had to bet on myself. And it was scary as all get out. I mean, it was a terrifying season for me. I'm so
mm,
grateful. I'm so
yeah,
grateful I took the risk. And right now I'm in the middle of taking another risk in my own journey. This episode is sponsored by Coach Ryan Wright's Executive and High Performance Coaching. What if one conversation could change the direction of your next 3 years? If you're a leader, entrepreneur, or high performer who knows you're capable of more, but you're not totally clear on the path, let's fix that. I'm offering a free vision call where we will get crystal clear on where you are and where you want to be and what's actually holding you back. No pressure, no fluff, just clarity and momentum. Book your free vision call now. The link is in the show notes. Now, back to the show. And that is, I'm getting into the coaching space, which is a blast. Absolutely love it.
yeah,
But it is a risk. Like it's me. It's again, I'm betting on myself. I'm betting on my success. I'm betting on my future. I'm going after like what I really want in life.
yeah,
And I just shout out to you because there's so many people sit on the sidelines. They sit, in the bleachers waiting for all the stars align so they can go after their big dreams. Like, no, like cut the cord and go make your life now. Like, go make it
yeah,
happen now. Take the risk and do it. If you don't take
yeah,
the risk, then you're always going to regret it. If you do take the risk, even if it doesn't work out, at least you will be able to say you tried. But if you don't
yeah,
take the risk, man, what you get as a result is you sit on the sidelines just wishing that you would have had the courage to do it. So if you're listening and you're wondering,
yes,
man, should I go after this? Man, hopefully Kyle's story today is like one more example in the hopper. You can be like, dude, go after your freaking dreams. What are you waiting for?
yes, yes. I so agree with that. Just take it from a guy who has no background in marketing, no background in social media, isn't a supermodel, isn't a health and fitness guru, none of those things. And yet I was able to build, an audience of over 4 million followers.
Yeah.
And at this point, build my dream life, do whatever I want to do with my time, do whatever I
Hmm.
want with my life from here on forward.
Yeah.
If I don't want to, I never have to work again. Like if I want to just say goodbye today, I could say goodbye today and I could retire. But I'm
Sure.
happy with what I'm doing. I'm excited for what I'm doing. I want to keep doing what I'm doing because it's changing lives. And
Yeah.
I get DMs every single day from people that go, dude, you're not going to believe this. I lost 36 pounds over the last 3 months, or I lost 50 pounds over the last year. Thank you so much for the recipes. I can't believe it. It's changed my life. I've had guys,
Yeah.
send me, little like a video of them telling me this with tears in their eyes, that they're so thankful that someone put these recipes, on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I've reached out to the guy that initially inspired me, and his name's Remington James, and he was pretty big on YouTube a few years back. And I did the same thing to him at one point and said, dude, thank you so much for this, cheeseburger dipped in fake nacho cheese that like was high protein, low calorie. Like, it changed my life. It made me think this is possible for me, and so as long as I'm inspiring people, I'm going to keep doing it. As long as I'm still enjoying it, I'm going to keep doing it.
Yeah, and inspiring's good, and you're doing that obviously, but it's more than that, Kyle. Like, you're making an impact. It's
Mm.
beyond inspiration. It's like you're
Mm.
making a real impact on people's lives. So again, like, had you not taken the risk, you might not be able to realize all the impact that you're actually able to
Yeah.
see right now. So good for you for like being like, nope, I'm going all in. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
You never know, and it's so many times when you say no to stuff too. You get to figure out what you could say yes to. And I
Hmm.
even had an interview with a job. It was some mattress company in Chico. I forget the name of the company, but it was going to be some kind of online, I don't know, customer service job. It was decent pay. And I
Yeah.
remember them rejecting me, and me being so bummed out. And I look back to that now, and it's like, dude, I'm so glad they rejected me. Like, I know my mentality, being a safe person, I would have
Yeah.
settled for that. I wouldn't have tried to do my cooking stuff. It was just
Mm,
at the beginning.
yeah.
And other opportunities came up with business things, other friends. Hey, Kyle, let's go in this direction or that direction. I think just knowing what you really want out of life, and putting on blinders and going like, no, tunnel vision, like, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to
Hmm.
do it until it's successful. And I think
Yeah.
that is huge. I said no to a lot of things that would have took me in a different direction. I would not be standing here today. So
Sure. I love
yeah.
it. Last question, Kyle. Title of the podcast: Choose the better story.
Mm.
When you hear that phrase, what comes to mind?
Yeah, I think what comes to mind is the fact that we only have one life to live.
Mm,
And most of us, 99.9% of us, are not going to be remembered after 10, 20, 30, 40 years, except
yeah.
for the people that are closest to us, around us. And so I like making the big impact. I like the fact that millions of people have seen my videos. That's great. But the better story for me is that my wife's proud of me, that she loves me, that I'm being honorable to her, that I'm being faithful to her, that I'm showing my kids that they're valuable, that they're
Yeah.
loved, that they come first before anything else. And that any friends that are around me that have my number, they know that they can give me a call, and I'm there for them in a whim. And I think for me, that is choosing the better story. That's making the biggest impact, is starting with my home and my community. And at the end of my life, I want to get known for that, because honest,
Hmm.
those are the people that will be at my funeral, not the millions of people that follow me and bought my ebooks, and they're fantastic, and I'm thankful for them. But it's making an impact with my local family, my local church, and my neighborhood.
Awesome. Kyle, that was really inspiring, man.
Thanks, man.
I appreciate your time today. Where can people find you and see what you're up to on social media?
Yeah. You can find me at Tasty Shreds, spelled TASTYSHREDS. Same spelling except for a Z at the end on YouTube, and everything else is going to be the same on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. So I think that's all of my platforms. Yeah.
There we
So
go.
appreciate it. Oh, Facebook
That
is Kyle Smith. You can just find me Kyle Smith on Facebook. So
Awesome. So yeah, I mean, if you want to see like pictures that like show the transformation process in his own life and his family's journey is pretty incredible. I'd encourage you to go check it out. Who knows, you might get a few more followers here, Kyle. That'd be super
let's
awesome.
go.
Hey, I'm just going to close this out. I've been saying something very similar on the close of each podcast, and we all have the ability to choose what we want in life. And you've
Yeah.
basically making the decision to do that. And I use imagery of a cape, Kyle. Like
Mm.
we all have the ability to be like the superhero in our own life. The
Yeah.
sad part is a lot of people have their cape, folded up in the closet collecting dust.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage those of you who you do have big dreams in mind for your life, but you've been sitting on the
Mm.
sidelines. Let me just encourage you again today that the best thing that you could do is take that stupid cape out of the closet, dust it off, go shake it off outside if you need to, and put that thing on and go take action. Do it
Mm.
today. Stop delaying it. Stop waiting for the stars to align. Go make something special happen in your life today. So, Kyle,
Love that.
thanks again for your time today. I appreciate you spending time. I know you're a busy guy. I'm glad we were able to connect for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I wish you and Tasty Shreds nothing but the wildest future. I think it's going
All
to be
right.
an awesome ride. I look forward to see what else you're doing.
Awesome, man. Thank you, Ryan.
A better life, better vision, what you wanting? Let's make it happen. Time to choose the better story. Come on.